Hello everybody, welcome back to Video Game Therapy. Welcome back me to Video Game Therapy. It's been 81 days, 82 days I think. Um, Today we're doing a little reflection. A little bit of the good old fashioned reflection. I got an email about a month and a half ago from Anonymous. And they mentioned that as of this email, the next week would have been a year and a half since I posted the My Future Self VGT number 14. And I ended up rewatching it yesterday, and I took some notes. And they asked specifically, what reflections, insight, and perspective shifts have you experienced? Regardless of whether you want to listen to VGT or just go from memory, do you feel like you're on track with those goals and was not paying attention to that one? And how have those goals changed? So I have so many various notes, just like with the little funny things, like the lifestyle channel was at 900 something subscribers, 968. Now it's at 7,000. Cowdino was at 302, and now it's at 322. Like, cool. And it was cool looking back on that and seeing me get kind of excited about those little tidbits. One thing I thought was really funny was I was like, I hope I'm not in the same room doing the same thing, and haha, it would be cool if I was in an apartment in Seattle, and lo and behold, like, that's where I am. I would never try to do this by memory, I think. I mean, I've reflected based on memory before. Sure, let me just make sure my audio is functioning, because that's always been a problem in the past. Cool. Sure. Memory reflection is good, but I don't really trust memory all that much. I have a good memory, I have a trained memory, I think, well, relatively. But I would rather have concrete journal entries or videos, and that's one of the great things about VGT and just the Cowdino arcade in general is it's really a bit of a time box. So at the end of the video, I listed 5 things. I'm going to get to in a minute. I actually want to say one more thing. I think I'm definitely a very different person than I was 2.5 years ago, which is, a good thing, technically. And one of these things is, like, the way I attack life, I think, has fundamentally changed. And the most simplest way I think I can put it, just kind of giving it some thought now, is 2.5 years ago, I think I was very discipline focused. I know this has entirely changed, but I'll get to my point in a second. I was very much productivity tips and be more productive and you will hit your goals. Now, the only productivity tip I really think I want to abide by is just sitting down and doing the damn work. I'm still, like, I'm reading, or I'm going to start reading a book that's like 10x your goals instead of 2x your goals. And I think setting goals is still super important. I use cold turkey to maintain discipline for me, kind of thing. But cold turkey is an application. Now I'm very much searching for meaning in what I do, so to speak. And something I'm going to talk about is that I still want to make a game, but I gotta be disciplined to sit down and actually make it and do the things that'll get me closer to that goal. For example, I am semi-working on a Roblox game. I will probably do it for a few months. Given I guess I'm kind of temporary in the role here, but I want to see how much I can learn, right? And it takes discipline to actually sit down and do the damn work. But I'm pretty sure at least I still want to make a game. And watching this VGT, there have been so many things that are the same. There are things that are different, but I'm really happy is a strong word. I'm really content that I'm on the same path. And the fact I'm still on the same path means it's not necessarily the wrong path. I don't know if it's the right path. I can't strongly confirm or deny if this is the right path for me. However, I think I'm pretty safe in saying it's not the wrong path. I'm sure many people would consider me successful. I don't know if I'm quite that far yet. Because I don't have a definition, nor do I have a measurement of success. But anyway, there were 5 things that I mentioned, and I'm going to go in reverse order because the first thing is make something that resonates. And yeah. So the 5th one was 100K on the lifestyle channel. That goal has definitely changed. I have not made a video on there for almost 3 months now. And right before the ChatGPT one, I was talking with someone, and they mentioned kind of like, I forget the exact conversation. I'm sure I have a journal entry about it, but I'm not going to go dig it up. It's pretty much like, does YouTube bring you joy? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can go without YouTube for a while, and then I'll go from there. If I find that life has meaning without it, then so be it. What do you do? YouTube is in my past now. And I wanted to make these 2 typing videos before I did that, but I never did that. I never did those. However, YouTube has been absent from my life, both in the creation sense and the consumption sense. And I don't know, I haven't really missed it. I think the biggest thing was that I stopped consuming YouTube, and therefore it kind of started to not exist for me in some way. And when I say stop consuming, I'm dead serious. I mean, I went on yesterday and I watched like half of the video, and I was like, which, you know, great, cool. I also cold turkeyed caffeine 7 days ago, so you know, what the hell? I don't know what's going on. But the goal for 100K just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem like something I want anymore. I think to really hit that goal, I could do what it takes. I have the editing chops and whatever, but I don't really have the desire to make, you know, bite-sized content to get more people to click on my things, and you know, making clickbaity thumbnails and scripting the videos. And I'd love to make more videos that are centered around making things and learning things. But, you know, something about Japanese that I realized after I took the Japanese exam was that a large part of the reason I was doing Japanese was to make a video about it. And it's not that the videos were about learning Japanese was about making videos. And same thing with game development. I think the devlogs, for me at least, failed because I started making the games for the video, and the videos were accountability, but the videos took A, more effort, which I kind of realized at the time, but B, I wasn't developing the game for myself. It just wasn't for me. It was for the videos. And we're going to talk about making that thing that resonates, but yeah. So 100K on the lifestyle channel. I remember being so fixated on YouTube being a big thing. And, you know, here I am making a VGT. These are kind of chill to make, so I don't really have any expectations, but yeah, that's that one. Goal number 4 is to have a special someone. That's gone up and down, back and forth, left and right. But as of right now, yeah, I don't know. A little personal, I suppose. I don't want to really get into that one, but what I do want to say is that I think my perspective on romance and relationships has definitely shifted multiple times. I've definitely, you know, you learn a lot about yourself when you're alone. You learn a lot about yourself when you're with someone. You learn a lot about yourself when, I don't know, you learn a lot. And I think as you mature and as your brain starts to become more of itself, in other words, as your brain starts to grow and mature, it's like you just kind of, you adapt, you improvise, you adapt, you overcome. And yeah, love and romance, and that's a whole other insight on its own, and I'm sure that opinion's gonna change in a month. I'm sure that opinion's gonna change in a year. I want new achievements, that's why I done. So moving on. Number 3. What the frick does this say? Oh yeah, working on something that, oh, ikigai. Working on something that has meaning and with people that I can relate with. Let me just look up the definition of ikigai real quick, just so I don't get the 4 things wrong. I would say this goal is on its path to fruition. So ikigai is the combination of what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. So right now I'm working in ad tech, which is advertising technology. So 2 double backflips, 10 coins, survive an entire night. And I think for semi-obvious reasons, it's not the most meaningful work, right? But I'm learning a lot. Just checking the recording because I'm paranoid. You know, the thing with ad tech, and I think one of the things a lot of people are in ad tech is the amount of challenges that you get to face every day. You know, the scale of our systems is insane. And so you're working on a lot of cutting edge kind of things, and you know, I don't want to. No one's really trying to. As far as I know, no engineers that I work with are here because they're so adamant about showing people more ads. It's about optimizing and working with the systems, and because of that, I'm learning a lot. I joined a small company, smallish company, and I'm learning. There's a lot of freedom. There's not too much bureaucracy. Yada yada yada. And yeah, I think I'm on the right path. And listening to what I was saying in the VGT about wanting to work at Adobe or something, I'm kind of still on that path. I want to still work somewhere where my software kind of directly makes an impact. So there are jobs that I'll look at sometimes, like job postings for various things, and I'll kind of guide my current trajectory based on that. So, you know, the doist position for backend software developer in Python, or the doist position for full stack developer position, I learn things based on what those look for, what they're asking for. And I learn those things now because that's still kind of my ultimate goal. I want to be with this company for at least a few years, right? I'm doing a part-time master's. Oh, and that's another thing. I graduated. I made some joke about failing all my courses, but that didn't happen. Excuse me. I graduated, right? And I'm kind of doing a part-time master's, 1 class a semester for a couple of years. Not too motivated to do it right now, but I think in a couple of years I'll be really glad I did it. Because it's like, you know, working at Duolingo or something would be cool. And plus it's all mobile industry, so all for the better. I focused so hard to make that jump as well. Gosh darn it. And I think the fact I'm still thinking about that most days when I'm working because eventually I want to get here, and this is somewhere I can really level myself up. And it's somewhere I can really level myself up, and I have to put in more effort. But I'm learning a lot with working, and I'm by people it's a great company culture, and by people who are also adamant about learning and challenging themselves. Great people to work with. I get to see various projects end to end. You know, my thing isn't booting up, like speeding up an Android boot time. Like, it's so specific. You have whole teams for that at really big companies. But that's about enough of that. I think my perspective shift in there has been, yes, I want to be a software engineer, and I want to continue down the software engineering path as my main goal in life. And I think that's another thing that kind of solidified we'll call it desire, you know, to get big on YouTube. Because a large part of that reason was kind of like, have a income on the side. Should I choose to do like a PhD or something like that? But yes, I mean, the income wasn't the main goal, of course, but it's kind of like to devote time to something. You have to, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I got too used to people talking on Discord and like that stuff. Like, was sufficient for my need for community interaction, right? But it's kind of a mix of like, I can get paid to do what I'm doing, which is 1/4 of Ikigai. I'm good at it, it seems. I may not love ad tech itself, but I'm doing something that I enjoy, and that, you know, I'm doing work that is fulfilling in the sense that it's challenging. You know, I'm working on actual problems. And, you know, does the world need it? I don't know. Probably not. But it's good enough for me. So that's work. Do I have any notes on here about work? No, not really. Excuse me. But work and Summer That Matters is still on my mind generally. Oh yeah, quick shout out. My art's still piss. We're gonna talk about Seashell in a second. Goal number 2 is, and this one I thought was really funny, but fluent in Russian, confident in my French, and tack on a 3rd language. And I talked about Portuguese a little bit, and I guess during that VGT was when I had started the Portuguese tree on Duolingo, which was really funny, because I just came back from Brazil, and I've been doing Brazilian Portuguese, and I was speaking a little bit, surprisingly well, I guess. Not by my standards, but that was cool. And I don't remember feeling so strongly about fluency in Russian. I remember why I started. I remember what the incentive was, but I only remember doing it for like 2 or 3 months, barely, and then being like, this incentive's not strong enough. I think the biggest incentive I would have needed was to go to Russia. I think that's one of the reasons I stuck with Portuguese so strong, is because I knew I was going to Brazil. But this goal is kind of on track in the sense that it's like, in 2.5 years, instead of Russian, it's just Japanese. Wow, that was so inconvenient. Right? This main language that I want to learn that's most difficult is Japanese instead of Russian. And my French, I'm probably not any more confident in French, but I'm thinking of just resuming Duolingo in French and then continuing Brazilian Portuguese on a Rosetta Stone instead, and just seeing how far Rosetta Stone alone can get me in terms of feeling comfortable about Portuguese and vocab and all that. But yeah, it's one of the, this is a really nice epitomized example of the fact that, like, I'm still interested in learning languages. I still want to learn more languages. And I don't think I'm any more adamant about it than I was, but I don't think I'm also any less adamant about it than I was. Learning languages, that is, which is kind of cool. I like that. And I'm doing, my master's program in computational linguini. So focusing that work, that research on second language acquisition, should be really cool, I think, at least. Yeah. And then the next thing, the last thing, number 1, is making something that resonates. And this one hit me because I was talking about Seashell game development. But effectively, I wanted to make something that resonates with a lot of people, that makes people feel something very strongly. Like a Pixar movie. Usually they make waves. Excuse me. What's really funny is that I mentioned that I had this dream job of animating, but I didn't have the aptitude for it, and I just think that's a fascinating thing to have listened to, because I remember thinking that a couple days ago, but I don't think I've got the chops for animation, and I don't know if that would really be my dream job. But I think somewhere inside I really want to be an artist, but evidently I don't know, I can't make the time for it, and that alone just says I'm not interested in it. But that's a weird battle in and of its own. But I want to make something that resonates with a lot of people, and I think the YouTube channel was one potential avenue to do that. I think the Discord server recently, I got some messages from people that were like, yo, found some friends, it's been a cool community, and that makes me really happy, because even when I started my Minecraft server, that was kind of always the thing that was top of my mind, is people interacting and making friends and all that fun stuff. But the thing that I really want to make, I guess, is a game. Which is, I don't know, kind of weird, maybe. Because I don't know if I'm on track for that. I don't think I'd ever want to work in the professional gaming industry. But, Seashell is still something I've thought about for the last 2.5 years, it's constantly on my mind. Not maybe every day, but I'm always thinking about making games. And I think right here, I want to say, like, to future Mark here, in 2.5 years, a prototype is certainly possible. I think I'm finding barriers with learning new things, and I need to find a pushing force. You know, there's a whole thing of pushing and pulling forces. Should you be pulled towards something, or should you be pushed towards something? Motivation is a pulling force. You're drawn to something. Discipline is the pushing force. You get yourself out of bed and you do this and you do that. I think that's an important distinction that people should think about a little more. But I think this is kind of going on for a while, and so I'll wrap up in a second. But this has not changed, and I think this is still my fundamental mission. If not, it's become more strongly grounded in the notion that the meaning of life is for other people, in my worldview. You know, I think about, like, you know, superheroes, right? What do they do when they get old? They can't always keep doing it. And something that's been kind of present in a lot of movies, you know, the first Spider-Verse movie, Tony Stark and Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe, end of Ranger's Apprentice. Mentorship is the answer. What do fighters do when they're no longer, you know, fighting in the ring? They coach. They mentor. When your heyday is over, right? That doesn't mean it's over. That doesn't mean your life has to lose its meaning. It just means it transitions a little bit to the next generation, the next step. And that was also a thing that I thought was cool. In the last VGT, I mentioned that I was boxing and doing some karate. Well, not karate because of COVID at the time, but now, and I was reading this Muay Thai book, and hey, I'm doing Muay Thai now 4 times a week, and Jiu-Jitsu 2 times a week, and MMA once a week, and boxing once a week. You might think that doesn't add up to 6. Also, I kind of lied. Muay Thai is 3 times a week. I mixed it up. But Monday, Tuesday, Thursday do Muay Thai. Wednesday I do Jiu-Jitsu, and Wednesday I do boxing. So 2 days there's a 2 in a row, and then Sundays is the MMA class. I don't know if I'll ever get in the ring. It's not a definite, but it's also no longer, you know, I do still like my head where it's at, but it's just cool to see that some things don't change. They evolve. I think if something doesn't evolve, two things should happen, right? Something should either change or something should evolve. For example, martial arts hasn't changed, but it has evolved. I'm now doing jiu-jitsu, something I was like, oh, I suck at grappling, blah, blah, blah. I hate getting in close. Cool, it's evolved. I'm getting over myself, right? But martial arts feels like a pulling force. I just really like doing it. It keeps me on my toes. But again, I think I have to involve a bit more of a pushing force to try things for making a game. You know, that's kind of why I wanted to sign on to this game in the first place. It's like it's got a community already of people who want to play this game and who this game will mean a lot for, especially the team making it. But that's about all. So those are my insights. Those are my perspective shifts. Kind of, I've had more, I know, but for the sake of time, I don't really want to go into them. It's also just about 9 in the morning, so I think this was a bit more of a better VGT, a more mellow one. So I'm gonna go ahead and real quick upload this. Whether there'll be more in the future, I don't know. I just don't want to, make commitments. Commitments that I don't know if I can keep, and I don't know if I want to keep. So yeah. Have a good one, and as always, don't forget to stay awesome. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Peace.